I'm truing my stones up. Use a truing sleeve to make sure your stones are concentric. Okay, I think I'm going to stop right there. Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm gonna quickly go over the results, the piston fitting for the 125 MX cylinder, and then I'm going to get into something different, which is I've got some heads I want to do some CCing on. I actually have a factory 1969 to 71 probably MX head, and I want to see what the volume is on this compared to the standard one. And I also picked up a 74 MX head. This is the one I'll probably use because the MX head that I've got, this is of course for the 69 to 71, and this one it looks like it'll fit, and the volume looks closer to what the MX head is that I've got, so the one that I know is. So I'm gonna check all those with a buret, and we'll find out if they're comparable, and that's probably how I'll be able to use it. But it's this one here, if it's good enough, it'll also have to be cut a little bit to line up with my cylinder. But anyhow, let me get you overhead and we'll get to the fitment of the piston to the 125 MX cylinder first. Okay, turned out pretty good. It's still got a little bit of discoloration. I cannot hook my nail on it, so it's just it's rust. I could see it when I bored it. There was kind of a brownish powder there, so I'm not going to worry about it, and I think everything will just be just fine. And I actually went a little bit smaller on it than I was going to. I just thought, well, I'll hopefully it'll wear in and everything will be good. So there's my fit. And let me go ahead and show you on the gauge here. As you know, let me get you situated here. My bore gauge, I set that up on the micrometer before I set it up to the size of the piston, and so it's exactly the size of the piston measured just here at this point, which is just just kind of in line with the bottom of the holes there. So that's where I measured it, and then I get into the cylinder here on the top. I think you can see that. It's about 1.8, something like that. And I go 90 degrees, much the same. And then we flip it over. Much the same. And I can't go 90 degrees, I just swing it around 180 because of the cutouts there, and the same. So 1.8, 1.9, that's what I was shooting for. So I feel really good about it. It's a nice fit. I like the way it feels, and I think everything will be just fine with that. Now let me move on to my cylinder heads here. Get this out of the way. Now I've got 3 heads here. This one here is a known MX head. This is 69 to 71, and it's got the, let's get these two in to compare them. This is a 72 and probably 3 head here, and you can see that there's quite a, let me get a pointer here. The squish area here is wider, or the top of the combustion chamber. This is smaller, and then here we don't have this outline, so it's the head is milled down to remove that. And then what they do is they widen this area right here. See how narrow this one is compared to this one? Now, I think these are really hard to find MX heads for. I was surprised I was able to get this one when I did. But these are easier to find. And this is the 74 MX head. I've got a broken fin on this one, but that's okay. Actually, if I use this, I'm going to have to cut about that much off of this, kind of at an angle, so my pipe will fit in there. But shouldn't have any problem doing that, and everything will be fine. But as you see here, there's a lot less of this ridge than there is on the stock Enduro one. I hope this shows up. And like I say, the combustion chamber is designed a little bit different. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because these, with this these spark plug holes at the 15 degrees, it's really hard to hold this thing anyway, so that I can mill this down and then reshape in here. There's just, I can reshape in here by holding it here, but I won't be able to mill it here in the lathe. I'm sure there's a way to do that. If some of my machinist buddies out there, maybe they could help me out and enlighten me on that, because I really can't see a way to do it unless there's some kind of a holding thing that just kind of screws into this a little bit. I think I've seen that on exhaust manifolds and stuff when machinists do those. It's like a half turn or something, and that way it's held with a mandrel out here. But I don't know, so if anybody can enlighten me on how to do that, I would appreciate it. Anyhow, what I'm going to do is we're going to check the volume of all these, and this being the 74 MX head, one really great thing about it is a centralized plug. That helps with the detonation in here, the detonation of the spark. And you know, you don't have to have this one, you just plug it. So I'm just going to check all the volumes of these, and then we'll compare those. So I think the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and do the, I've already got this one plugged. This is the 74 MX head. So what I've got here, and the only reason I've got this is because I used to do cars, check the CCs on their heads. So I've got this buret, and it's much bigger than I need, so I'll be filling it all the way to the top. Let me get you off here a minute. Okay, see if I can get out here far enough where you can kind of get the gist of how tall this is. Starts up here. So I've got to fill this all the way to the top, and actually I probably really don't, but I will. As I fill it, it'll come down, and if it goes to like 8, that's going to tell me that there's 8 cc's of volume in there. So let me get this kind of set up, and then we'll get back to it. I'm going to fill my buret. I've just used some isopropyl alcohol that's green. I put some food coloring in it. That's all I ever use this for is the buret. Okay, looks like we got her. Now, down here on the bottom, we're gonna take the head and put some grease around the outside here, and put a piece of plexiglass over the top of it. And it's got a hole in it. So at that point, we'll stick this under the buret, try to keep it as level as we can, and we'll run the fluid into here until it stops, until it's full. And that will be our reading. Okay, I'm going to take a little high vacuum grease and just put it around the edge here. Not too thick, we just want enough there so we can get a seal, but we don't want to mess up our reading either. We got a little down in here. And I'm going to make sure that's out of there, and then I pulled it over there. Okay, so then we'll just squeeze this down on it, and hopefully that will seal it. And I've left a place there for a hole for the buret to go in. So I'll just lower this down. Okay, I'm going to start filling this, And I'll show you a little bit of this going in there, and then I'll show you the top of it. I think I will anyway. You can see it kind of wanting to run across the top here. Whoops. There we go. See, I had a little run out there. We're looking at about 11, around 11, a little under 11. Yeah, it's probably too close for you to see that. I had it kind of leak out here, so I'm gonna reseal this and go again. I'd like to have it as accurate as possible. Okay, we're gonna try it again here now. An air bubble there. It's probably not ideal having that hole where it is. Got that bubble, it just doesn't want to come out of there. There. Okay. Get a couple more drops in there. Right there. Okay. Well, I'm just about where I was before. Let's see, it looks like it's about 11 and a half. 11 and a half. So let me get the other one, the next one set up. Actually, I want to show you this. I think I was reading it wrong. Of course, it's taller than I am, but it's really just right at 11, if you look at it there. 10 is right here, and 12 is right there. So, looks like it's just about 11. I think there'll be enough difference between all of them. 10 here, 12 here. I think there'll be enough difference so we can get the gist anyway. Let me get the other one set up. Okay, we've got the stock head here. It's the next one. And I see that the spark plug holes are not as filled as the other one was. So there's a difference in that, but that would mean there's a difference in volume too. Do a little better job of filling this one. Air bubble there. There it is. Oh yeah, there's a big difference. Let me get you back up here so you can see. Okay, so we were at 11 before, so right about here, and now it's at 14. It's probably a little bit crooked there. I'm going to say it's right on 14. Right there, 14, 13, 12. So okay, there's a big difference between the stock and the MX on that one. Let's see what the real early MX reading is. Okay, there's a big difference here. I'm looking at about 14 right here. 13's there, 12's there. It's probably a little bit more than 14, 14 and a half maybe. Let's call it 14 and a half. There's certainly a difference between the MX head and the stock one. So let's just call that one 14 and a half. Okay, actually that should be 13 and a half. I forgot I've got to read that backwards. So it's 13 and a half on the 72 stock head. So here's the early MX. Oops, got to top off my buret again. And I got just a little too much in it. All right there. Okay, let's see what this one checks out at. Like trying to fill a thimble with a fire hose. All right, I think we're there. Get you up board here again. Okay. See what I mean? This is coming down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got to this one here. That would be 11. So it's right at 11. Probably a little bit like 11 3/4. So it's pretty close to the MX head. The MX might be just a little bit tighter. The 74 MX, that is. Okay. Okay, so we've got a pretty good idea that the MX is an MX. No matter what year it is, it's pretty close. So what I got was about just almost 11 on the 74, 13 and a half on the stock 72 one, and about 11 1/4 on the 69 to 71 MX. And this one I know is an MX, and I know that this one is an MX. So there is a big difference. Not so much between the two. And if I was set up a little bit better, I imagine these are going to probably be the same, but it's close enough for me to be able to tell that, to tell and to say that they are MX, and there's quite a bit of difference there. And it's readily seen in the squish pattern. You know, this distance really from right here where the bowl is to here, and then how much wider this one is. Let me get a dial indicator and we'll just, a digital caliper, and just kind of get a measurement here. It looks like about 1.679. And if you compare that, there's a big difference, right? This is about 1.414. Just estimates. The CCing is going to tell you more than any of the measurements, but if you are to remove this, mill this head, the stock head, then you've got to reshape this squish pattern to be similar to this one. If you don't, you're going to have problems. I'm not sure what all would be the issues, but you probably would just end up with a lot of detonation or something. So you've got to be able to get that squish area back. So that's what I'm saying. If I set it up in the mill, or in the lathe rather, and turn this down to basically get rid of the ridge, there's a little bit left there, then I would have to reshape this area more to this one, and then cut this bowl out also. And just a little closer look at what we did there, what the head looks like with the fluid still in it. Hopefully it showed up good with it going into the combustion chamber. There's one other thing I wanted to do here. This area here just kind of worries me, so I'm gonna put a little dicum on this, and I'm gonna lap that cylinder top just to make sure that it is going to seal. Let me let that dry. Got a little oil on it, looks like. All right. Got my piece of glass here and some 400 grit sandpaper. Some of you have probably seen me do this before with cylinder heads. Same thing. You're just going to kind of let the weight of the item that you're lapping. This is actually weighs a little too much, so it's kind of scooting it around. And then go back the other way. Oh yeah, that's going to be just fine. So you can see the sealing surface here is just fine. Here's where the doodah was right there. But it's all squared away on from the bore, from the boring, and then the honing. And then I went by with my cartridge roll and just took the edge off of this. But that's good and flat. It's going to seal just fine. Okay guys, there you have it. Showed you a little bit of the honing operation. We lapped the cylinder, the top of the cylinder where it had the little divot, and we went through and checked the capacity, volume, whatever you want to call, on the cylinder heads, 3 different ones, and we found out that the one that I want to use on the 72 125 MX, the 74 one, will fit, and it has the same volume as the early 69 to 71. So everything should be okay there. We'll find out. Looks like it uses the same bolt holes. The actual holes in the head are about 10 thousandths bigger, but it shouldn't matter because the studs line up in the cylinder down below, and then the head is just kind of sandwiched on. If it looks like that it's going to be a problem, what I'll do is I'll make a couple of spacers to go around the cylinder head nuts around this area right here that will take up that slack if I need to. But they're not. It's not tight on the 72 either, so, or the 69 for that matter. So I think it's going to be okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.